An order to Malik al-Ashta. In the name of Allah, the All-Beneficent, the All-Merciful. These are the orders issued by the creature of Allah, Ali, the son of Abi Talib, peace be upon him, to Malik, the son of Ashta, when he appointed Malik as the governor of Egypt to collect zakat there, to combat the enemies of Islam and Egypt, to work for the welfare of its people and to look after its prosperity. I order you, Malik, always to keep the fear of Allah in your mind, to give priority to His worship and to give preference to obeying His commands over every other thing in life, to carefully and faithfully follow the commandments and interdictions as are given by the Holy Book and the traditions of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, because the success of a man to attain happiness in this world and in the next depends upon these qualities, and a failure to achieve these attributes brings about total failure in both the worlds. I order you to use your head, heart, hands, and tongue to help the creatures of Allah, because the Almighty Allah holds Himself responsible to help those who sincerely try their best to help Him. Allah has further ordered you to keep your desires under control, to keep yourself under restraint when extravagant and inordinate yearnings and cravings try to drive you towards vice and wickedness, because usually yourself tries to incite and drag you towards infamy and damnation unless the merciful Lord comes to your help. Let it be known to you, Malik, that I am sending you as a governor to a country which has seen many regimes before this. Some of them were benign, sympathetic, and good, while others were tyrannical, oppressive, and cruel. People will judge your regime as critically as you have studied the activities of other regimes, and they will criticize you in the same way as you have censured or approved other rulers. You must know that a good and virtuous man is known and recognized by the good that is said about him and the praise which Allah has destined him to receive from others. Therefore, make your mind the source and fountainhead of good thoughts, good intentions, and good deeds. This can only be attained by keeping a strict control on your desires and yearnings, however much they may try to incite and coerce you. Remember that the best way to do justice to your inner self and to keep it out of harm is to restrain it from vice and from things which the self inordinately and irrationally desires. Malik, you must create in your mind kindness, compassion, and love for your subjects. Do not behave towards them as if you are a voracious and ravenous beast and as if your success lies in devouring them. Remember, Malik, that amongst your subjects there are two kinds of people: those who have the same religion as you have, they are brothers to you, and those who have religions other than that of yours, they are human beings like you. Men of either category suffer from the same weaknesses and disabilities that human beings are inclined to. They commit sins, indulge in vices either intentionally or foolishly and unintentionally without realizing the enormity of their deeds. Let your mercy and compassion come to their rescue and help in the same way and to the same extent that you expect Allah to show mercy and forgiveness to you. Malik, you must never forget that if you are a ruler over them, then the Caliph is the ruler over you and Allah is the Supreme Lord over the Caliph. And the reality is that He has appointed you as the governor and tested you through the responsibility of this rulership over them. Never think of raising yourself to such a false prestige that you can declare war against Allah, because you cannot ward off His wrath and you can never be free from the need of His mercy and compassion. Do not feel ashamed to forgive and forget. Do not hurry over punishments and do not be pleased and do not be proud of your power to punish. Do not get angry and lose your temper quickly over the mistakes and failures of those over whom you rule. On the contrary, be patient and sympathetic with them. Anger and desire of vengeance are not going to be of much help to you in your administration. Never say to yourself, I am their Lord, their ruler, and all in all over them, and that I must be obeyed submissively and humbly, because such a thought will unbalance your mind, will make you vain and arrogant, will weaken your faith in religion, and will make you seek support of any power other than that of Allah. If you ever feel any pride or vanity on account of your sway and rule over your subjects, then think of the supreme sway and rule of the Lord over the universe, the extent of his creations, the supremacy of his might and glory, his power to do things which you cannot even dream of doing, and his control over you, which is more dominating than that which you can ever achieve over anything around you. Such thoughts will cure your mental weakness, will keep you away from vanity and rebellion against Allah, will reduce your arrogance and haughtiness, and will take you back to the sanity which you had foolishly deserted. Take care never to think of bringing yourself at par with Allah, never to think of matching your power with him and contesting his glory, and ever to pretend that you possess might and power like him, because the mighty Lord will always humble pitiless tyrants and will degrade all pretenders of his power and might. So far as your own affairs or those of your relatives and friends are concerned, take care that you do not violate the duties laid down upon you by Allah, and do not usurp the rights of mankind. Be impartial and do justice to them, because if you give up equity and justice, then you will certainly be a tyrant and an oppressor. And whoever tyrannizes and oppresses the creatures of Allah, will earn enmity of Allah along with the hatred of those whom he has oppressed, and whoever earns the wrath of Allah loses all chances of salvation, and he has no excuse to offer on the Day of Judgment. Every tyrant and oppressor is an enemy of Allah unless he repents and gives up oppression. Remember, Marlik, that there is nothing in this world more effective to turn his blessings into his wrath quicker than to insist upon oppression over his creatures, because the merciful Allah will always hear the prayers of those who have been oppressed, and he will give no chance to oppressors. You must always appreciate and adopt a policy which is neither too severe nor too lenient. A policy which is based upon equity will be largely appreciated. Remember that the displeasure of common men, the have-nots, and the depressed persons more overbalances than the approval of important persons, while the displeasure of a few big people will be excused by the Lord if the general public and the masses of your subjects are happy with you. Remember, Marlik, that usually these big personages are mentally the scum of the human society. They are the people who will be the worst drag upon you during your moments of peace and happiness, and the least useful to you during your hours of need and adversity. They hate justice the most. They will keep on demanding more and more out of the state resources, and will seldom be satisfied with what they receive, and will never be obliged for the favor shown to them if their demands are justifiable refused. They will never accept any reasonable excuse or any rational argument, and when the time changes, you will never find them staunch, faithful and loyal. While the common men, the poor and apparently the less important section of your subjects are the pillars of Islam, they are the real assemblage of Muslims and the power and defensive force against the enemies of Islam. Keep your mind on their affairs, be more friendly with them and secure their trust and goodwill. But be careful in forming your contacts, whether with the most important persons or the commoners. Keep such people away from you and think them to be the enemy of the state, who are scandal-mongers and who try to find fault with others and carry on propaganda against them, because everywhere people have weaknesses and failings, and it is the duty of the government to overlook minor shortcomings. You must not try to go in search of those weaknesses which are hidden from you. Leave them to Allah, and about those weaknesses which come to your notice, you must try to teach them how to overcome them. Try not to expose the weaknesses of the people, and Allah will conceal your own weaknesses which you do not want anybody to know.